Hey friends, I'm Liad, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm diving into a 9x12 oil painting on ABS. And let me tell you, this one was a journey. Not because it was particularly complex or technically challenging, but because it was an internal battle. One I think many artists can relate to, especially when trying to loosen up and embrace a more painterly style. For me, the struggle is all about balance, trying to be accurate and quote-unquote get it right versus being expressive and painterly. Now, these two things aren't inherently at odds with each other, but depending on how you approach them, they can feel like they're pulling you in opposite directions. Let me explain. Take the lollipop and the cheek in this painting, for example. The top of the lollipop and the cheek are not accurate in the traditional sense. I made a deliberate choice to approach them that way. Ironically, those areas didn't trip me up. What did challenge me were the smaller, more detailed areas like the lips. When I painted her lips, it was a constant back and forth. A teeny change, like pressing the brush a bit too hard, would make the shape slightly off. Then I'd have to go back in and adjust the edge again and again, because we're talking differences of just a millimeter. It's frustrating because in reality, no one would notice if her mouth was a fraction wider or narrower. But as artists, we can be our own worst critic. Am I right? This is one reason I don't paint those loose paintings where the canvas shows through and the painting isn't painted all the way to the edge and it looks like it's half finished. I'm not trying to say anything negative. I love those paintings. I think they're gorgeous. I just don't have the style for that. I tend to go back and forth too much into those paintings. So instead of trying to push myself into a style that I'm not suited for at the moment, I have leaned into aspects of my painting that I am suited for, like using the brayer and working back into things. So I'm not afraid of working back into things and incorporating that into my style and still being able to paint loose, painterly paintings just in a different way. Some people worry about overworking a painting, but I don't see it that way. Overworking isn't about how many strokes you use, it's about the overall feel. You can have a lively painting with tons of layers or a stale one with minimal effort. What matters is how you approach it. When painting wet into wet, for instance, you can overwork edges or muddy your colors if you're not careful. But you can also scrape it down and start fresh. It's not the end of the world. The key is to stay flexible and not be afraid to revisit parts of your painting. Loose or painterly painting is such a broad concept, and there's no single right way to do it. My advice, make it your own. Don't try to abandon how you paint. Just take inspiration from others and adapt it into how you paint. Because you'll never paint exactly like someone else. Why try? Take elements from other painters that you love. Take all the elements of other painters that you love, that you want to be able to do, and just incorporate them into how you paint. And it'll make something new and unique that's yours. And the thing is, you don't even have to try to make it unique. All you have to do is try to incorporate the elements from other painters without trying to copy them. And just by doing that, and by taking from multiple painters and your natural inclinations and the things that you focus on and the things that you find fascinating and the things that you obsess over and the way that you see things and the way that you interpret things, all those things will turn it all into a unique style that is yours. And that style is not set in stone and will change over time. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Now, despite my internal struggles with this piece, there are a lot of things I'm really proud of. For example, the cast shadow of the hand. I think that came out really well. I love how the bounced light in the shadow gives it depth and still indicates the underlying anatomy. And then there's the texture. I used large brushes and rubber brushes to give the brush marks character and to add to the feel of the painting. Here's a quick tip for painting loosely, and for all painting, honestly. And I've said it before, squint. It helps you simplify what you see, which is essential when grouping elements and deciding where to place hard and soft edges. Simplification is the heart of a painterly style. It's less about detail and more about design. Think about it. Hyper-realistic paintings zoom in on every pore, while painterly works simplify and group shapes together. At certain points in this painting, I stepped away from my reference entirely and just looked at my canvas. I focused on design and making the painting work, rather than copying every detail. Of course, I'd go back to my reference as needed, but it was freeing to trust my instincts and to prioritize the overall feel. And that's it for today's painting and this week's creative journey. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on next week's new theme and new videos and paintings. I'm aiming for 5 paintings and videos a week, so wish me luck. And if you want to chat more about art, join my community on Discord or follow me on social media. Links are in the description. If today's painting caught your eye, it's available on my website for the special price of $250. So be sure to check that out. Have a fantastic weekend, and as always, happy painting.